All right, guys, welcome back to the Michael Lenoci Show. This is a Miami Dolphins reaction video or recap. First of all, I want to start off with saying shout out to the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel, and the team and everyone we have. Because without what they're doing this year, we wouldn't be feeling the way we feel right now. And not the worst I've ever felt in recent years. It's definitely like it's a blow a little bit, but I think that my expectations were, prepared for something like this. My first thoughts are overall in the last 20 plus years, we have only been to the playoffs. We went to the division. We won in 2008 and then 2016 and then last year, right? 3 playoff appearances in 23 years, but really kind of like lucky Cinderella seasons. This will be going into our 4th season of a winning record, assuming we stay on this track, right? 3 seasons in a row with a winning record, even though it's 9-8 or 10-6. But so this is the shout out to the team for being in a position that made such a meaningful game, that put such high expectations and made us feel a gut punch like this, because this game was the biggest game of the Miami Dolphins franchise in the last 25 years since Marino. It was one of the biggest games. So we lose to the Bills. It was a big game, but we were supposed to lose, right? It's a road game. It's tough. We started the season off with 3 road games. We ended up 3-1 after 4 games with 3 road games. That's pretty impressive. And then we're sitting there at 5-1, and we have this little window of 3 games that we're going into, and this is the first of the 3 games. And we got to walk away 2-1 at the very least to be taken serious going forward. 1-2, no one's going to take us serious, and we're going to continue to be this team that's got a winning record, but like, do they believe we can go deep in the playoffs? Right? You know what I mean? Like, we're probably not going to be looked at as serious, because now I feel like we're in a position of a must-win for the Chiefs. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just kind of want to shout out, because this is exciting that we have a team. And although we didn't come out with the win, watching them, it was like, that's a tough place to win. I felt like we had composure there. We fought. We stayed in the game while we could. It could have got out of hand. I think our defense put us in a position to win if they played better. But overall, I'm thankful that we have a team that is going to be taken a little bit more. I think we earned some respect tonight. I know that we lost 31-17 and our offense was shut down, but that game was very hard to win. It was going to be very hard to win that game. Sorry if it's a little slow start. I'm just kind of going through the things in my head right now, like cause it hurts a little bit, obviously. Because when you lose games like this, you think about, like, I don't know if you guys do, but I personally think about, like, man, this would be so cool if we won. Because I think about you watch the shows. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're like me. You watch a lot of Dolphins recap videos. You watch the sports shows. You like to hear everybody talking about the team. We would have been the talk of the league. We would have been 6-1. We would have been tied with the Chiefs. That would have been, we would have went into Philly and beat them. Philly would have lost 2 in a row. But this goes back to last week when the Jets beat the Eagles. That was when I started to worry, because I was like, good teams don't lose 2 in a row. We got beat. And it hurts, and it's frustrating, and it puts a lot of pressure on us. I know it's a long season. We got 10 more games to go. We're 5-2. You like to be 5-2. It's a good record. You'd rather be 6-1. You'd rather be 7-0. But it really started with the offense. We kind of got beat. And I don't want to do the injury excuses. I don't want to blame stuff on injuries. Obviously, losing Isaiah Wynn hurt a little bit, not having Armstead out there, but Lamb's kind of stepped up at left tackle. Not having Connor Williams for a couple games now, having Eichenberg. 10 penalties. That's a lot, man. A lot of them are penalties that deserve to be penalties. Some of them are like, okay, I don't know if that necessarily needs to be called. And then you could argue about, the penalties not being called on the Eagles. You can get upset about that stuff, but ultimately they always say don't be in a position that lets the referees decide the outcome of the game, right? So, kind of looking over everything, 12 first downs. That's the number that kind of sticks out for me. Just like the first half total, the first half was just a disaster, really. You know what I mean? Outside of like that last drive, we make it 17-10. Listen. The game starts off, they're kind of driving down the field, a little slow start, a 12-play drive. We stop them, we hold them for a field goal. Big moral victory right there for the defense, holding them to a field goal. And then, kind of like last week, first drive, not a 3-and-out, but 5 plays, 13 yards, we got a punt. So now you're like, oh, great. And then on the first drive, they fumble the ball, and you're like, the defense put us in a great position. And we do 7 plays for 1 yard. That's kind of like where it starts to kind of like you go, oh, this isn't an easy game. 1st and 10, Tua to Tyreek Hill for 3 yards. 2nd and 7, Mostert -2 yards. So it's 3rd and 9, and it's Tua for 16 yards. Great. First down. 1st and goal at Philly 6. That was a big play. I remember that. Okay. And then Mostert for -1 yards. And then passes to Hill for -5 yards. So maybe the play calling there could have been a little bit better. But all we did was go backwards. Oh, and we scored a touchdown. Tyreek Hill touchdown pass taken away by that left guard offensive holding. And it was. So that's a killer, man. Going up 7-3, that would have been great. So then at that point, it's 3rd and 22. We know what happens. You're going to kick a field goal. So I kind of was going over that. So the field goal was because of a penalty. A holding by a backup guard. Isaiah Wynn had gone out at that point. So he went out right away. That guard gets beat. They call the holding there. God, you want that one back, right? 3-3. Next drive, they go 9 plays, 61 yards, touchdown. All right. Then the next drive, we have 3 plays, 7 yards. We're punting. So, and then what's their next drive? 12 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. But I want to go over this. I don't think it's the 1st and 10, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 4. Here it is. Scrambles left, out of bounds, 5 yards, penalty, Eli Apple, defensive holding. We don't have Xavier Howard out there. We don't have Jalen Ramsey. Either way, you got Eli Apple with a holding call. That's a first down. Again, I don't blame the defense for this game. But, all right, and then our next drive, 8 plays, 72 yards, a touchdown. Beautiful drive. Great passes by Tua. 17-10, going in a half. You get the sack. Momentum feels like it's on our side. And then I'm not going to go through the whole second half, but you have punt. Then we go for it instead of kicking a field goal. Could have been 17-13. Then we get the interception touchdown. Here's the thing. If we kick the field goal, do we get the pick 6? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, so we get the pick 6. Oh, on that down is that call, that no call on Cedric Wilson's face mask. You know, it's frustrating. We end up getting a touchdown anyways, right? So, like, the football gods gave us the touchdown. It's 17-17. Momentum's on our side. And they just kind of kill us, man. They kind of just move the ball on passing. They kind of killed us in the passing game, really. It was just frustrating. We kind of were almost getting to Hurts, you know? So then they're up 24-17, and then we drive down. And what happens before that pick? This is what kills it. It's 1st and 10 from Philly's 26 after that great deep play by Cedric Wilson, who's finally getting his money, right? He's earning his check. He was robbing us. He's playing well this game. 1st and 10. There's that snap play, right? There's like a miscommunication, and then Tua just slides down, right? Because maybe like Ahmed was coming across, and there's like some miscommunication there. So Tua takes the -3 yards. So you're like, okay, great. So it's 2nd and 13. That fumble, the bad snap fumble, Tua picks it up, throws it to Waddle for like a 5-yard gain. Tua makes it 3rd and 8. Remember? That's frustrating, right? Because it's probably not what the read he wanted to do. Tua is obviously smart and fast enough to get the ball out before he takes a bigger sack. So already this drive is turning into a disaster once we got in field goal range. Now it's 3rd and 8. And I just, I don't like the play call. I don't like the play read. Like, it's 3rd and 8. I assumed that they were going to go for it again. We didn't have to get all 8 yards, but Tua throws the pick. And, you could argue was Mostert, or was he, pulled down there? At that point, you're like, great, here we go. I don't like the decision there by Tua. That's that Tua can't make that throw. He's got to make a better throw there. Because at the very least, you got to be like, let's try to get points here. And then they kind of put the game away right here. I mean, 13 plays, 83 yards, 6 minutes and 35 seconds. They really killed us, man. On this last drive where we needed to stop them, a 3rd and 5 to a 4th and 1, they convert. A 3rd and 8 to a 4th and 1, they convert. A 3rd and 4, they convert. And then they score. And then 4 plays, 0 yards. We can't even get a first down on that last drive. Time of possession. Look, the game plan is working, and the formula to beat the Miami Dolphins is out there. All right, if you run the ball well, not that they ran the ball well, right? I think that they had 100 yards rushing, 99 yards. Still, we haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher since the first game of the season. Our run defense was great today. But they didn't necessarily run the ball well. I felt like we stopped it, but they controlled the clock. 36 minutes to 23. And I think that's the game plan. It's like keeping Miami off of the field. Because you don't want their offense to have a lot of opportunities to score. Total plays 48 to 68. They had 20 more plays than us. Total drives, they had 10, we had 8. So they got to have 2 extra drives. So that's annoying too. Yards per play, 5.1, 5.2 for them. Passing, yards per pass, they killed us in the passing game. We sacked them 3 times. They sacked us 4 times. Rushing, here's the thing. If you slow Miami down by controlling the clock and you can move the ball slowly. I mean, how many drives did they have that were for 12 or 13? Look at this. That's kind of what kills us, right? A 12-play drive, right? 12-play drive, 12-play drive, 8 plays, 13 plays. They controlled the clock, and then we didn't run the ball well. And when you run the ball for 45 yards, it's a lot easier to get pressure on Tua. And they sacked him 4 times. In our 2 losses, Tua's been sacked 8 times. And in our 5 wins, he's been sacked twice. So he's been sacked 10 times this season. 4 times. Red zone, 0 for 1 for us. They were 4 for 6. 10 penalties for 70 yards, 0 penalties for them. It's frustrating, man. They had 2 turnovers. Anytime you win the turnover battle, you should win, especially if you're a very good team. But offensively, we could not get it going. They put it. Look, the defense gave us 7 points. They put us in position to score. I mean, the defense gave us 2 opportunities to do something. We only scored 10 points. Really, we scored 7. We scored before the half, and that was it. Other than that, we couldn't do anything offensively. Because we got the field goal because, Hurts fumbles it, and we're right there, basically. So, offensively, we scored a touchdown right before half, and that was it. And then we got the pick 6, and that we were never able to do. I mean, we had the drop touchdown by Tyreek Hill. Then, on the next play, we don't get the face mask call on Cedric Wilson. But then the very next drive, we get the pick 6. So, if any of those other things happen, does the pick 6 even happen? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the football gods were like, no, you deserve this. The point is, it was 17-17. What are you going to do? You can't run the ball 45 yards, dude. 45 rushing yards. Nothing was working on the run game. That was their strength, their defensive front, and it killed us. And, what are you going to do? There was a lot of players banged up, What are you going to do, man? It's tough. It's frustrating. I think Tua he played pretty good. I mean, we know what Tua is, right? I think he's good. I think he's got, the comp is Drew Brees, and he can be that. He's going to throw like one bad one in these big games. Look, Mahomes threw an interception today. He threw a bad ball. He threw 2 bad balls today. One was, thank God, a penalty. And I guess you could argue, yeah, but he makes so many other great plays in between. Sure. But look at Hurts. He threw a bad pick. Not a bad pick. It wasn't his fault. It was deflected in the air, but fumbled it. He turned the ball over. But they still made plays on the offensive end. A.J. Brown stepped up. A.J. Brown's making catches. Tyreek Hill's dropping balls. Waddle gets banged up and misses half the game. The O-line is banged up. You're missing 3 starters on the left side. All you have is Robert Hunt and Austin Jackson. The irony of the same people that were drafted with Tua are the whole left side is all backups. Nothing is going in the run game at all. It was an ugly game, and you knew it was going to be close. We only ran the ball 12 times. 9 carries for 45 yards. It was averaging 5 yards, although it started slow for Mostert. But I think we got behind, and he bailed on the run game again a little bit. Guys, we've never. What bothers me the most is that as the Dolphins have never won that big game they're supposed to win when they are good. Okay? And I brought this up before in the past. It was like 97 or 98. It's one of Marino's last few years, right? It's during the Jimmy Johnson era. It's when we have Zach and Jason Taylor and Surtain and Madison. Like, we have the complete team. And we win a Monday night game against the Titans. So it was when they first became the Titans. So whatever year that is, it's like 97 or 98, and we're 7-1, and that was the game. We won. That was the last time I remember, and we won a big game. I was like, oh my God, it was a home game. Granted, it was a home game, but we were 7-1. I want to kind of pull it up. Record by year. So we were 7-1. Let's see what year it is. Here it is. It's got to be 98. I'm going to pull it up right now for you. And it is not that. It's not 98 because 98 we're 6-3. So this is where I'm getting at before I get too far ahead. Because right now we're 5-2, and growing up, I saw 6-3, 7-3 so many times throughout my life, and I knew what that meant, and I don't want to be that team. That's why I'm going to get into how important the Chiefs game is. because it's frustrating. So it wasn't 98. I want to say, man, it might have been 97. And this is even more heartbreaking because we didn't make the playoffs. You got to be fucking kidding me, Bear. We didn't make the playoffs. So here it is. 97, we did make the playoffs. Because this is the year. From 97 to 2001, we went to the playoffs every year. 5 years in a row. And I feel like we're about to head into that kind of streak right now. But I want to make sure we don't go through the same shit. But here we are. Nope. This isn't the year either. Because right here we are 5-2. And we lose 2 in a row. And we're 5-4. Crazy. So we're 5-2. But we make the playoffs that year. So maybe it's 99. Maybe I'm wrong. But hang in there with me where I'm getting at this. Okay? It must have been 99. We beat them on a Monday night game. It is. Here it is. 99. 1999, man. Dan Marino's last year. We start off 2-0. 2-1. We lose to the Buffalo Bills, and we're 5-1 how we work today. The irony of this, we beat the Eagles. We beat the Eagles 5-1, and we beat the Raiders. Big game, 6-1, and it's a Monday night game. November 7th, 1999. Monday Night Football. And we're playing the Tennessee Titans. And they're so good. They're a good team this year because they go to the Super Bowl this year, if I'm not mistaken. In 99, they go to the Super Bowl, right? And the Rams beat them. That's the year, if I'm not mistaken. We beat the Titans. And we win 17-0. And we are 7-1. And we are the talk of the NFL. Dan Marino's last year, they're like, this could be the year he leaves. And this is what I'm talking about. That specific date, November 7th, 1999, is the last time the Miami Dolphins played a huge game, a primetime game where everybody was looking, and it was against a good opponent that was also a big winner that year, and we won. And we were the talk of the league. That year, by the way, the Titans went 13-3 that year. Going into that game, the Titans were 6-1. It was 2 6-1 teams facing off on a Monday Night Football, and we smoked them 17-0. And everybody's like, Miami's the team to beat. Just so you know, after that game, Titans don't lose another game. They lose one more to the Ravens, but the Titans end up going 13-3 and going to the Super Bowl. So maybe that's our destiny this year. But that year, we go 7-1. We beat the Titans. This is in 99. So since 99, was it 2019 would be 20 years, 24 years since we've won a game like tonight if we would have won. 24 years. We go 7-1. I don't know if you guys remember this. 7-1. And then the next week, we get spanked by the Bills. We beat the Patriots, so we're 8-2, and we drop 3 in a row. And then somehow we beat the Chargers, and then we lose 2 in a row and stumble in the playoffs. But we go 7-1, and we end the season going 9-7. 9-7. Losing. Getting killed by the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Losing by a field goal to the Colts. Losing to the Jets. Somehow beating the Chargers by a field goal. Losing to the Jets again. And if I'm not mistaken, is that Jets one the Monday Night Miracle? No, because that's at home. That must have been the year before. But we lose to the Redskins 21-10. And we get a wild card. We don't even get a division. And we play at Seattle Seahawks. We beat them. And then Dan Marino loses 62-7 to the Jaguars and the backup quarterback named Jay Fiedler, who would take us to the playoffs the next 2 years after that. God, that season haunts me every day. We were 7-1, and if we could go back in time and think about where the team was mentally. They had just beat the Titans. They were both 6-1. They beat the Raiders the week before, who were obviously very good around that time. And we are the best team in the NFL. And we lose to the Jets twice because the Jets that year, I believe, went on to go, 8-8. I don't know who won the division. Was it the Bills that year? Yeah, Bills went 11-5. Doug Flutie year. Yeah, because they lose the Titans beat them in that miracle. They're winning and the Titans throw the lateral. You remember? And the Titans almost lose to the Bills. Oh boy. So the point being, we're sitting here at 5-2. We could have went 6-1 and been the talk of the NFL. But here we are with a very big game next week. Very big game ahead of us. Okay? It's the Patriots who just won, and that helps. We're coming off a loss. But that's really like, I'm not overlooking them. But you win it. We're 6-2. That's fine. You're right where you got to be if you win the next game against the Chiefs. You got to beat the Chiefs. I said before in this 3-game stretch, it's going to be hard because New England plays us tough. They always play us tough. Right? And I go, if we're going to lose to the Eagles, which I picked, I said we're going to lose to the Eagles. I thought Eagles aren't losing 2 in a row. When the Jets beat them, I was upset. I knew that they would not lose 2 in a row. The Chiefs next week, who do the Chiefs? Let's just hope they don't. Hey, pray to God. Pray to God the Chiefs do not lose next week. Who do the Chiefs have next week? The Broncos. Lord, thank you. That ain't going to be the upset. They're going to smoke the Broncos, be 7-1. If we can get our work done against the Patriots, they got their win. They're feeling good. We're coming off a bad loss. Offensively, Mike McDaniel, here you go. You kind of got figured out again, like the Chargers game. Not as bad, but 244 yards total offense. That's not good enough to win any game, regardless if your offense is number 1 or number 15. You got to have 300 yards offense. You would have lost to anyone in the NFL with only 244 yards total offense. But if you don't beat the Chiefs, I will say this, and I will say it right now. If the Dolphins do not beat the Chiefs, we're not a championship caliber team. You're just not. You went to Buffalo, you lost bad. You went to Philly, you lost. It wasn't as bad. You got to go to Germany. You got to win one of these games to be considered elite. After the Chiefs game, you have the Raiders, the Jets, the Commanders, the Titans, the Jets. It's 5 winnable games. We're going to be favored in all 5. No matter what happens, we could lose the next 2. We could go 5-3. The next 5 games after that, we're going to be favored, okay? Are we going to win all 5? I don't know. But I don't care. Even if we won all 5 and we beat the Patriots, and that's 6 wins, and we're 11-3, if we're 11-3, headed into the final 3 games of the season, that doesn't mean anything because nobody's going to give us credit because they already haven't been because we beat the 4 worst teams outside of the Chargers, who could be a bottom team now too. That now that they're 2-4, we haven't beat a winning team. So what does it matter? That's why this Chiefs game is putting so much pressure on us now. What does it matter, Michael? If you get to the playoffs, you're in the tournament, what does it matter? Because fear is real. Other teams fear you if they know that you can beat great teams. If you beat the Chiefs in Germany, everybody knows that. And they'll take us seriously. They'll be like, oh, they lost that Philly game. They were kind of in it. It was a tough environment. Philly didn't want to lose 2 in a row. But bam, they went to the Chiefs and they killed them. And if you win those 2 and you win another 5 after that, and you have a 7-game win streak and you're 12-2 going into the last 3 games, how different is that with your roster? Like, hey, we could start sitting. If you're 12-2 headed into Dallas, Baltimore, and Bills, all 3 are going to be playoff teams this year. Maybe the Bills. I assume they'll still be in there. But if you're 12-2, at that point, you might not have the playoff clinched, but you could lose the last 3 and you'll still make a wild card. At that point, you have a good opportunity to get in the playoffs, and we'll be looking at maybe a division, if not a bye, right? If not a 1 seed, if you beat the Chiefs. You might be able to sit there and get some defensive players, some rest ready for the playoffs, and conservatively play Tua to make sure he's not hurt and not risk things. But if you lose to the Chiefs, and I assume you beat the Patriots, and you're 6-3 headed into the bye week, Vegas, New York, Commanders, Titans, New York, assume you're splitting 1 against the Jets. 10-4 headed into the last 3. Now you're sitting there going, oh, we got to beat some of these because all 3 of these teams are playoff teams. Nobody's going to take us seriously. We're just the same team. We're just a team that can't get over the hump. How can you not get over the hump with this squad? You have the most talented offensive coach in the game. You have Tyreek Hill, who's still on pace to break records. Jalen Waddle's great when he's healthy. Tua's throwing the ball decently. You have a great defensive coordinator. You have the talent on defense. By then, Jalen Ramsey's back. What more could it possibly take? You can't add more to the team. You either can get it done with what you have or you can't. That means that these guys aren't good enough. Maybe it's the O-line. Then maybe the team's just not good enough and you need to but where do you get better? You got to rebuild the defense? That's my guess. It's like, oh, maybe we were shocked that one year we started 1-7 and then we won 8 in a row. And we're like, dude, this defense is elite. Maybe we're out of our mind. Although Bradley Chubb got 2 sacks tonight. Jalen Phillips looked good. They got pressure. We didn't have to blitz a lot. Wilkins looks good. It's just weird. It's just the secondary is supposed to be much better. So it's like, I don't understand, really. I don't understand. It's like we have all the talent. We have all the pieces to really win a championship. Like, what do we not have from those 90s teams that you could have won? Like, there's no middle linebacker like Zach Thomas, right? It's a different kind of game. But these outside guys, maybe no one's as elite as Jason Taylor, but it looks like that Chubb and Phillips are coming along right now. All right? And then it's kind of our cornerbacks are not playing as well. But I really want to see more out of Javon Holland. I want him to be like a mega superstar. Like, I want more interceptions, big plays from our safeties. I think our safeties are playing a little weak. But outside of that, offensively, we have no excuse unless Tua is going to be just a guy who he gets you there and he can't get, is he going to be the Phillip Rivers? Is Tua going to be Phillip Rivers? Who just he's in the playoffs, but he can't win the big games. Because he's won big games before and he wins a lot as a quarterback. But right now, and I know it was a different coach, and I'm not going against Tua, but year 2, right? First of all, year 1, rookie year, we go to Buffalo. It's his rookie year. We win that the Vegas Raiders game, right? That crazy game where Fitzpatrick throws the Hail Mary and we get the field goal, win it. We go to Buffalo, the last game of the season. If you beat Buffalo, you get to go play in the playoffs. And I think Buffalo didn't even have to play their starters in that game. I think they had everything clinched up, and we still got smoked. Tua doesn't play good. Kind of plays a better second half, but we lose. We don't make the playoffs. Year 2, we go on that big win streak, right? We win 7 in a row. We're 8-7. We're headed into the Titans. The last game of the season is against the Patriots. All we have to do is win the last 2 and we're in the playoffs. We lose to the Titans. We go 8-8. We win the last game of the season. We go 9-8. Patriots get to go to the playoffs. Not us, because they had won better conference games. But Tua in that Titans game, remember? That was a big game. Tua underperformed. Did not play well at all. So that's, all right, strike 2 against Tua. Then we go wipe that out. It was the coach the whole time. We're bringing McDaniel. Fine. McDaniel's first year last year. What big game did we have? Comes back against the Ravens, looks good. Then he gets hurt. Comes back, wins a bunch in a row. We're 8-3. We go to San Francisco, big game. Tua plays okay, kind of like how he played tonight. Threw some good balls, late interception, drive down, can't get a touchdown. Played fine. We go 8-4. Go to the Chargers the next week. Tua plays bad. His worst game of the season. We lose. We're 8-5. The next week, who do we lose to? The Packers. We're winning. Tua gets hurt. It turns out he had a concussion. We lose. We're 8-6. Backup comes in. We lose to the Patriots. We go 8-7. And then we win and go 9-7. So there was another loss in there. I forgot who it was. But either way, 2 big games that were on the road. Oh, the Buffalo game. And then Tua plays for the Buffalo game. Played good against the Buffalo game. That was a big game, but we didn't win. And that was a big game, but Tua did play well in it. So you're like, okay. And we should have won, but we couldn't hold the defense at the Bills at the end. But again, a tough stretch. And we barely scrape in the playoffs, and Tua's not there for the playoffs. So now here we are this year. 3-0, go to Buffalo. We get slapped around. Can't really put that on Tua. He plays mediocre. Throws a pick in that game. But defensively, really, we got hurt more. All right? Giants, Panthers, get right games. Big game against the Eagles. Tua's playing good. But really, the scheme's killing us. We're not helping Tua. You know, he's making good throws. Making some good reads. But there's no run game. Late in the game, when things are getting tough, he makes a bad interception. Whether or not you call that a pass interference call or not. But we don't win that game. And that's fine. Now next week, beat the Patriots, right? Get to 6-2 hypothetically. You gotta win the Chiefs. You gotta beat them. It just worries me because if we get to the Chiefs, we don't win. I'm not worried about this team not making the playoffs, but I'm just worried about, are we going to be, a good team has to win one of these games. So I don't know, man. Tell me what you guys think, how you feel. It's really all I got. I just kind of wanted to, blow off some steam. I mean, we kind of bailed on the run a lot, and I guess we had to, but we didn't. It was 17-17. Couldn't stop them. The next drive is ugly. Tua's 23 for 32, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jalen Hurts is 23 for 31, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mostert, 9 carries for 45 yards. Swift, 15 carries for 62 yards. Hill, 11 receptions, 88 yards. I mean, they got him involved. Waddle got 6 receptions. A.J. Brown, 10 receptions, 137 yards. He kind of really was the factor right there. Not having Howard really hurt us. That was a big loss. So what are you going to do? Time possession, 36 minutes to 23. All right, guys. I'll have a recap for all the weeks. We'll have a new podcast up tomorrow. I'll be doing it. That will be up Tuesday, recapping week 7 in the books. We'll recap all the games. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, join the channel. I'm trying to build it. All you Dolphin fans, I am welcome you, whatever. I can't talk. I'm tired. It's late. It's Monday, so whatever. But keep your head up, man. These are tough ones. We weren't supposed to win that. If Eagles beat the Jets last week, we smoke them this week. I promise you that. So I will just say momentum is a real thing and desperation is a real thing. I can even go through like next week's games. And look, San Francisco's doesn't have an easy game tomorrow. Look, next week, Bucks and Bills. Bills ain't losing that. They lost, so they're not losing that. Patriots won. They're playing us. Whatever. Like, here's a game next week. Rams at Cowboys. Rams are 3-4. There's a game. Desperation team. Rams. Could they upset the Cowboys? Cowboys have been a little inconsistent. I'd call that. All right. Eagles, Commanders. Commanders frustrated after their loss. Someone talking after the game. Watch out for that. You know, Bengals, 49ers next week. You know, I mean, look, it happens every week, but good teams can't lose 2 in a row. So let's just make sure the Chiefs win next week. Either way, guys, like, subscribe. Please hit it. Watch more videos. I'm also on tour right now. I got shows coming up in Boca, Tampa, Orlando. You can get tickets at michaellenoci.com. If you like stand-up comedy, check out all my stand-up comedy stuff. But that being said, fins up. Hang in there, guys. Sorry about tonight.